Good morning. Uh, welcome. So, today we're going to be talking about relationships again. Last time we talked about relationships and we talked about one to many relationship or one or a many to one relationship. So, basically, we had where we have a parent and then we have children of that parent. So, that was the relationship that we talked about. Today, we're going to talk about many to many relationships. So this is where one entity can correspond to multiple entities. So last time we talked about students, and we also talked about courses. And we created an app where we could create students, and then we could create courses. And each student was assigned to only one course. And so you could have that relationship, that one to many or many to one relationship. Um, but that relationship doesn't always capture um, everything that we want to capture. The other type of relationship is the many to many relationship. So in this case, one student can have many can be taking many classes, and also one class can have many students. So now we don't have a parent and a child. Instead, um, it's a many to many relationship. So typically, when you have a many to many relationship, you have your two concepts. You have, in this case, we have the students and the classes. You have two tables for that, just like our one to many relationship. But then we need an extra table to capture the relationship. With the one to many relationship, the relationship was captured in one of the tables. In this case, we have to use a third table to capture the relationship. And the columns for the table are going to have, in this case, they're going to have a student ID and also a class ID. So in this table called enrollments, every row is going to represent um, the relationship between the students table and the classes table. And but so in this table, we would have, if we have a student one in class one, that represents that student one is taking class one. If we have student one class two, that would represent that student one is taking class two, and so on. But the key here is that to represent this relationship, we need three tables instead of just the normal two tables. Now, this table, the enrollments table, will not have a CRUD. So we have, because we have our students table, and that will have a CRUD. In our classes table, that's going to have a CRUD, but this one will not show up as a CRUD in our app. And that's typically what happens when we have a join table. There's no CRUD for that join table. But we'll see in a minute how we're going to be inserting into this table. Okay, so before we go on, I'm going to introduce a useful tool. So if you see this diagram, you can see that there's a line here, and then on this side, there's just one line, and then you have a line going there, and then here it splits into three lines, and then attaches to here. So this line that starts with one at one point here, and then ends in 3 points over here. This is representing a one to many relationship. And basically, what we have here is that this table um, has a relationship with this table. It has a one-to-many relationship. Now, in this case, from classes to enrollments, we have it the other way, where the 1 point goes to 3 points. And so we have here a one to many relationship. And basically a many to many relationship can just be represented as two one to many relationships. So here we have a one to many relationship from students to enrollments. And then we have a one to many relationship from classes to enrollments. Okay, so and then these diagrams, a lot of people create these diagrams when they're thinking about how to create a data structure in their tables. And another thing is that these diagrams also contain all the columns that you're going to have in your table, and they contain here, these are the primary keys. So my students table will contain the student ID. Well, let's see, it will contain the student ID column, the last name column, first name column. My classes table will contain the class ID column, the title, description. And then for the enrollments, it's going to contain the enrollment ID column, the student ID column, and the class ID column. And then we'll go in a minute about what foreign keys are. But my students table has a primary key, which does the ID, and the classes has just the primary key, that's the ID. In databases, we have what I call foreign keys. So when we have a student ID here, that refers to the ID in this other table, the student ID in this table. And so here in this table, we say that this is a foreign key because here in this table, student ID is the primary key. But in this table, student ID is not a key in this table, but it's a key in another table. So you can think of it as the keyness to this column is really outside of the table. So it's foreign to this table. And similarly with class ID. All right, so there's a tool called Lucidchart, and you can just Google it. But you can go to lucidchart.com, and then it's going to ask you to create an account. And once you create an account, you'll come to something like this. So in this tool, we can create diagrams like this. So I'm going to do start with another document. And then right here, I'm going to go to scroll down and go to shapes. And then we're going to search for entity relationship. And then just click there so that we can add it. And then we should have the shapes to be able to add, to make these types of diagrams in Lucidchart. So I'm going to try to do that. So I'm just drag and drop that diagram. Then I'm going to drop another one right here. And then you can double click there, and this can be a, and so I can start naming table. So that's going to be the students table. And this one's going to be the courses table. And then if I double click there, I can start filling in the columns. So first name, last name. And then this one can be email. And then this can be name and then description. And then I believe, see, we add another row. Okay, so insert row above, and then let's see, delete row. Okay. Delete row. Okay, so I deleted the extra row. So now I have here two tables represented, and I have the name of the table, the columns, the name of the table, and the columns. So now I'm going to bring my join table, and we call it a join table because in SQL you would be doing a join